Welcome to The Summit Club, a weekly podcast series where I uncover the stories, the strategies, the pain and the elation behind the most highly performant people on earth. The Summit Club is based on one simple idea, that in the climb of life, there is no summit. Join me as we interview the very best performers across all human endeavours, as we uncover the tools and templates that they use to maximise their potential in their efforts to get to the summit. Hey guys, my guest this week is Kalinko. He's an entrepreneur, content creator. He's the founder of Perkal Products, which is a company that houses the largest range of corporate and promotional products in South Africa. Now, as well as being an extremely successful entrepreneur, Philip is a lifelong collector. He's got a vast array of collector's items throughout his entire house. I've seen it, it's mad. Recently, he's taken that passion for collecting and he's forged a path as one of the leading traders of digital collectibles in the form of NFTs, which, as you guys will know, is one of my passions as well. He is one of the most relentless YouTube creators that I've seen, posting every day, sometimes multiple times a day. Now there's a lot to learn from Philip. Sadly, we didn't get time to cover everything off in this first show, so he'll definitely be back at some point. All of his socials are going to be linked down below in the description. And if you're new here, please make sure to give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, subscribe, make sure that you followed us. If you want to join the Summit Club, we do have our own Discord. The links will be down below too. And I hope you enjoy this episode of the Summit Club. Philip Kalinko, welcome to the Summit Club, episode 2. Philip Kalinko, the man himself, the man from South Africa. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. It is incredible to have you on the channel and talk a little bit about you, your history, your present and your future. This is you are the number one collector, man. Like, you've just shown me around your entire collection, and you are, when it comes to collecting stuff, you really are the number one collector. Crazy to see how much stuff you have. Welcome, man. Thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you for having me, Tom. Really excited to be here, my man.
It's amazing to have you. We've spent a bit of time together in the past. We managed to get connected a couple of months ago thanks to our co-podcast hosts, our co-hosts for both of our shows, Cade Bergman, the man from Seattle, and incredible to have you, man. I've really enjoyed getting to know you over the past few months. So we're going to talk a little bit about really about you, because you've got a very interesting past. You are a YouTuber just like me, but you are also a massive enthusiast when it comes to collecting. Now, it doesn't take a pro to see that your background is a lot more colorful than mine. The only thing I'm apparently collecting is shoes, and you are collecting everything else. But yeah, welcome. And Philip, tell us a little bit about yourself. Whereabouts are you? If you don't mind telling people whereabouts you are, that would be amazing.
Yeah, so I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm 39 years old. I was actually born in Australia. Not many people know that, but I was born in Melbourne, so I've got a blue passport. And when I was about 7 years old, my parents immigrated back to South Africa because they were originally from South Africa. They left, went to Australia, had me and my little sister there, and then they came back. So I have very few memories of Australia. Haven't been back since, but I do want to go one day. So yeah, I'm Australian, but been living here for 32 years, and this is what I know as home. Always been here.
Incredible, man. And tell us a little bit about kind of what you've been up to in your time in South Africa. I mean, I know about your background, but like, give a bit of an overview of what you've been up to over those few decades, and what's kept you busy, and how you've ended up in NFTs.
Jeez, it's a long story.
It is a long story.
After school, I studied a BCom marketing degree, Bachelor of Commerce in Marketing. While I was studying, an opportunity came to help a lady to sell some products. So basically, a good friend of mine, Ellie Perpignan, his mom had a close friend whose husband passed away. And this lady was left with stock. She had no idea where her husband was selling it. It was a small business. And she went to her friend, who was my friend's mom, and said, please, can your son and his friends help me? So Ellie came to me and he said, you can sell ice to Eskimos. Let's help this lady. And I said, okay. And we collected some of the products that she had, one of each, and started walking around trying to sell it. I remember our first sale was to a stationery store in Melrose Arch, which is a very upmarket shopping center. They bought 10 folders, right? Which the total value was maybe £20. And we took the rest of the day off. It was our biggest sale. We still had to pay about £15 to the lady, which was fine. We each took £2.50, and we took the day off, and that's how it started. So I was studying. I was putting myself through university, so I was also working as a waiter. I was also selling supplements. So I was really busy. I didn't have a collection like this behind me. That came a lot later. And yeah, just put my head down. I was always very driven, very, very driven to succeed. My dad had a very up and down financial life. And I watched him be on top of the world financially, really, really succeed, starting amazing businesses. And I watched him at the bottom as well. And I always wanted to just make sure that I could do as much as I can not to experience that. I'm still young, so I don't know what's ahead of me, but so far so good. So yeah, I'm typically very risk adverse, which is quite funny that I'm in NFTs, because my dad was a risk taker. He would build these businesses. As soon as it was good, he would sell it and move on to the next one. He built some very big businesses, some that are still around today, but then some wouldn't work. Whereas I'm the opposite. I've been running Perkal, the corporate gift company that started with that lady's stock, for the last 20 years almost, so almost 20 years. And yeah, I've stayed put. So that's my background outside of NFTs.
Yeah, well, it sounds incredibly interesting. The fact that it sounds like you have entrepreneurship in your blood, right? Sounds like
Yeah.
you have that. I guess that's what kind of pushed you down the path of what you studied at university to some level.
Yeah, I would say so for sure.
And
My dad actually wanted me to be an accountant. So he was an accountant, and in those days, you could be an accountant, a lawyer, or a doctor. That was it. So my first year of studying, it was also a BCom, but my major was accounts, and I just absolutely hated it. Absolutely hated it. I really didn't enjoy it. And I remember going to him and saying, listen, this is your life, not mine, that you want me to live. And I'm not going to do that. I'm living mine. I'll keep doing the BCom, but I'm not going to do accounts. And he was upset. Like he wanted the best for me. That was the way to have the best, in his eyes. And I just couldn't do it. I absolutely hated it. So I pivoted, kept doing the BCom, but changed my major to marketing.
really interesting. And you clearly it sounds like you were industrious when you were at university. You had jobs, you were doing multiple things to pay your way through that. It sounds like you said, you've always been driven. What do you think that your experience that you had with your father kind of directed you down that route, or
Yeah,
what
for
kind of
sure.
made you go down that path?
I remember going with him to his store. So one of the companies that he started is Stacks. It's still around today, Stacks Superstores. They're like an electronics store, and he started it. And I used to go with him on holidays to work, and I used to watch him. So there was one time, a funny story. There was a washing machine that this lady was looking at or whatever. She wanted to see the manager, so I went down with my dad, and she said, this place, there's dust all over this dishwasher. And he said, don't worry, ma'am, we don't charge extra for the dust. So that was my dad. Everything was a sales pitch, and I think they both my parents brought me up very, very well, from the money perspective. So I would get pocket money when I was young. If I wanted to spend it, I could, but they explained to me that I should try save some of it. So I think I had those that from an early age. But watching my dad, everything was a negotiation, and watching that definitely shaped me for sure.
Interesting. So you said that you had the capabilities of selling ice to Eskimos. You clearly had the ability to just sell stuff. But was that to some extent modeled on how you watched your dad behave and operate and negotiate?
I think so. I think also, I've got 5 sisters.
Okay.
Don't know if you know that about me. So
I
I
didn't
came
know
up
that.
in a big family.
Any brothers?
No brothers, but now 5 brother-in-laws.
Wow.
So I've got
So you
I've
now have
now finally got the
you've
male
now fully got a
influence,
five-a-side teams together. You've yeah, you can play a girls versus boys game
Yeah,
out in
I've
the garden.
got, I think, 17 or 18 nieces and nephews.
Wow.
So a massive family. But I think growing up, first of all, being the only boy, was tough. And I had to learn to, negotiate my way through. It's not just negotiate. I mean, everything. I mean, it was five against one all the time.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think a big family in general, regardless of whether it's girls or boys, if you both of you want the same piece of chicken, there's only one way. You got to negotiate your way to the best piece of chicken, and everything was a negotiation. So I think that helped. I think yeah, I think also you do get born with some degree of it. Also, I would imagine there's nature and nurture involved, but I do think for some reason, I mean, I used to sell stuff at school from when I was young. Young. I remember selling popcorn. I bought up a little popcorn machine, not an industrial one, a home popcorn machine. And I would sit there making packets of popcorn and take them all to school the next day and sell them. I made picture frames out of um, paddle sticks, like from ice cream. And whatever I would make and I would sell and I would save and I would, from when I was very young, it was there from the beginning for sure.
That's quite funny because that's quite a common story that I've heard from many different entrepreneurs, whether it's Gary Vee talking about doing his, his initial story was that, or his kind of story of selling was how he would go to his neighbors, he'd pick a flower from their front garden, and he'd go knock on their door and he'd sell them their own flower. And
Yeah.
so, and it's, it sounds like I hear these stories all the time with entrepreneurs. They talk about that when they were young, they'd be selling candy at school, like you were selling popcorn at school, you were selling picture frames. Why?
I don't know. I don't really know. I saw that I could buy more cards, like my tops cards and stuff, if I
Okay.
had some money. I only had a certain amount of pocket money every month. Didn't cover the needs for these collectibles as a young collectible, like marbles and cards and stuff. And I realized if I could get more, I could accumulate more. But the funny thing is, I've got three beautiful boys, and I see the same trait in one out of the three so far. So not all of them, but Jake, I can see, and I've seen it for a long time. I mean, I can see it. He negotiates everything with me, but like to accumulate, he's got me against the ropes. Honestly, he just thinks of angles of how to get stuff. I like I said no 400 times, and we coming out of there with all the Pokemon cards that there are. So I see it in him. So there's definitely a nature to it. Danny doesn't care. So they're twins, Danny and Jake, which is also very interesting because they're identical
Really?
twins, and
Really?
they're completely different. And
Wow.
Danny does not care about things.
Wow.
He's creative. He's
Mm.
creative. So like what he's busy with at the moment is he's built a big bouncing ball out of elastic bands. So he started with a little bouncing ball, and all his pocket money is going to elastic bands, bigger ones and bigger ones. And he's got a ball the size of a basketball at the moment. But he loves that because it's creating something, right? He's very creative. But it's just funny because I see it in Jake. I've said to Bianca from the beginning, Jake will be very successful one day.
Now, yeah, that is funny you say that because before this call, you showed me around your entire office in your study. And it is a much larger room than what this, like the view that the audience are getting right now. It kind of weaves off around the back and to the right and to the left. And you have walls and cabinets and shelves of loads of different types of collectibles. So we're talking about, talk us through some of all of your collectible collection, the collections that you have, like some of the things that because it clearly, if that was what you were saying, that the reason you wanted to sell stuff was just because you wanted to collect stuff. That's incredible because you've just shown me all of the collections you have. What kind of collections have you been into?
So in the beginning, it was Garbage Pail Kids and marbles. All the marbles now belong to Jake. As I said, he's very, and the other kids, but I think he's probably negotiated them from the other kids. Like he'll give Danny elastic bands to get marbles. But I had a massive, beautiful marble collection with lots of different types, probably about, I don't know, 5,000 marbles. I used to actually, when I was young, keep them in, you get toolbox drawers for nails. I used to have all the different marbles together in a drawer, the goonies, the pearlies, the all of them in the drawer with a label. So I was always like that as long as I can remember. So marbles was a big thing. I've got a lot of basketball cards from when I was young. I used to collect those pogs. I still have some, those
Oh,
plastic slammer
classic.
things.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of those still from when I was young. Um, those garbage pail kids, which I showed you, even though I ended up losing all of them. So what actually happened with those is that my mom's an artist, and she said those cards are actually stickers. You can take them off and stick them. So she said, wouldn't it be a lovely idea for you to do your shelf in your bedroom in these? And it was a lovely idea. So I ended up using all of them. So they still in my parents' old house on some lucky kid's shelf as stickers. And then, when I got to adult life, I decided to track them down again, not those exact ones, but to get the collection again. So Garbage Pail Kids, Hot Wheel cars, lots of stuff, lots and lots of too much
And
stuff.
it's
Coca-Cola, lots of
yeah,
Coca-Cola stuff.
it's difficult to kind of describe, but yeah, like I said, I've seen it before. Just off to his right, he has got a complete wall full of folders of those the Garbage Pail Kids, and then it looks like you've walked into a Hot Wheels shop. He's got like rows and rows of and deep like many different like cars still in their packets, and it looks like you're in a shop. It's incredible. So like my point is that you are a collector through and through, and so it is no surprise that you have kind of taken that. And I kind of joked, I was like, well, your office feels like it's full. Like where else? Where are you gonna put the new stuff? And you're like, well, that's why I'm in NFTs. So
It's true,
yeah,
and that collector gene, I've seen it in so many NFT guys. So many. I mean, even just looking at your shoes behind you, I've also got an amazing shoe collection. I love my shoes as well. But yeah, I do think it's that spoke to me on the NFT side, the collectible nature, the scarcity or supposed scarcity. There's still 10,000 of them. But yeah, definitely that plays into what caught me with NFTs.
absolutely. Well, I think the NFT world, as we've seen it over the past year, has attracted many different types of people into it, and we've had I've got in my group in the Summit Club, we've got like art collectors who are kind of niche art collectors. They'll follow certain influencers or artists and collect the stuff that they've created, and then we've got traders, so we'll be looking at high volume trading and swing trading, and then also kind of we've got like blue chip kind of traders or collectors, and we have many different types. And I would definitely say that I'm more here from the kind of art and the tech side, not the like collectible side. So I'm kind of like my dad is a like an art collector, and I feel like I've got that kind of gene, the nature part of that. So yeah, I like collecting stuff. I like fashion is a big part for me, so I'm massively into fashion. So I'm kind of like into those are the realms that I'm interested in. Now, you've obviously Cade, when I first spoke to him about you, and he was like, look, you got to meet this Philip guy. He is a legit trader. Now, knowing what I know about you now, are are you a trader, or are you a diamond hander? I didn't know. Cade suggested that you were good at trading, but are you good at trading?
I've become a trader. In the
Okay.
very beginning, I was a diamond hander all the way. I still have my first 20 NFTs that I minted from that project that failed. I could have sold them early on. I probably can't sell them now, but I loved them. I loved them, and I was never going to sell them. And then
Yeah.
I got into the next project, and I felt the same way. And the next project, I felt the same way. And it took the first bear market in sort of September last year, or whenever it was, September, October,
Yeah.
maybe October,
Yeah.
November to early December, and then
Yeah.
December took off. So it took that market when I watched like stuff that had massive value just disappear. And I thought, hold on a second, it made me reevaluate. Am I really wanting to collect these things, or am I wanting to flip it for a profit if I'm able to, right? So there's certain ones that I wouldn't mind holding. So blue chips like your Bored Ape ecosystem, because I think why? Because I actually think they'll appreciate in value down the road because they are collectible in a way. But the value side is linked to it. So because of that, I've changed. Since then, everything has got a price. Absolutely everything. It doesn't matter how much I love it. Like I've changed my PFP for the show so many times that I've finally just made it my face. Because when an offer comes and I stand to make that sort of money, I have to take it. I can't not now.
Interesting.
Whereas to begin with, no, you could give me any offer on certain things. I didn't care. And if I loved an NFT, I would pay anything for it. So I wouldn't buy a floor in the beginning. I would go sort of what speaks to me and whatever. Then I realized that those are harder to sell, especially if they're middle of the road and you've paid like 40-50% over floor. So I've had to become more of a trader in it. But yeah, I wish the space was such that I could just diamond hand, that every project was good, and I had the faith that they'd all deliver long term. But sadly, it's not the case, you know.
Absolutely. I can very, very much aware that that's not the case. And you've got quite when it comes to like the purchases, the kind of the pinnacle of purchases within the NFT world, you have made that purchase. You have made the purchase of one of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, the top of the top. You made that purchase. Talk to us about that. You explained that you have a thesis that they will appreciate and value. I hold that thesis as well, and I'm not a holder, but I look at what they have as brand IP, and to me, it's like I can kind of see where that's going, and the upside suggests that it's quite high. But for you, talk us about that. When did you buy into the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and was it nerve-wracking? Were you excited? Did you celebrate?
Yeah, so my introduction was a mutant. I got into it with a mutant, that one with crazy hair behind me.
Got you,
Such
yeah.
a cool mutant.
Yeah.
That actually Seth Green bought it, and then someone stole it from his wallet. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
I
that's
remember.
my
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
per mutant that's being held hostage somewhere. Well, it's not mine anymore. So that was my introduction to the Bored Ape Yacht Club ecosystem. And I got the Ape Coin airdrop, which was like 6 ETH, at the time, and I cashed it out immediately. And I paid 6 Ethereum for the mutant. Then it came to other side, and I got the other side land, and immediately knowing what I knew, because I was more in the space and educated in the space, I claimed the land and I sold it immediately at 40 Ethereum at the top.
How many?
I just had my cool guy, sold it to Seth Green for 42 Ethereum.
He bought it.
Straight.
Seth Green bought it off you.
So I sold it to a guy who sold it to Seth Green.
Got you.
Okay.
Wow.
So I sold it at the absolute top,
Yeah.
and ETH was about $4,000 at the time. But my mistake was that I never converted that to USD. I kept it in ETH. That was a big mistake, because if I had converted that to, and obviously I didn't know at the time, I thought it was going to $1 million, like everyone else did. Yeah, but knowing what I know,
yeah, BTC was 100K in a few months' time, and Ethereum was definitely going to 10K.
But knowing what I know now, I would have converted it. So much so that when I sold my Bored Ape, I converted it immediately to USDC. So I've learned my lesson there. So then you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, I've got some ETH to play with. What has served me well? Well, the Bored Ape Yacht Club ecosystem. I got my money back for what I paid just in an airdrop of ApeCoin.
Sure.
And I got the other deed land. And I was late to the party. I mean, if I had minted a Bored Ape to begin with, I would have had a dog, a mutant. So for me, it was just like, okay, this is the one ecosystem where I can make money. So that, I think, planted the seed that one day I would like to get a Bored Ape. That seems to be, I like the ecosystem from the perspective that it served me well. I'm not in the Discord of any project. I mean, I have them all there and I check announcements, but I don't have time to spend time in general. So it's not about the community for me. It's not about a flex. None of that. I really don't care what people think. For me, it was simply because this ecosystem knows how to deliver more than anything else. So then it got to the point I had sold my mutant, I bought a Clone X, bought a Doodle, bought whatever, spent it all on good on good NFTs, right? Spent it all. And then I was just sitting there thinking, Bored Apes are looking juicy at the price that they were. So they were 80 Ethereum and ETH was $1,100. So if you look on USD value, that's pretty much the lowest it's been in 6 months
Yeah.
to a year.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, this is the time. If you want to get it, now's the time. So I had to sell quite a few NFTs to do that, and I was selling at the bottom, right? So I
Got you.
took a loss on
Got you.
quite a few NFTs, and I had to put some fiat in. But I put it in. I checked the other day at $1,000 to ETH. So $1,000 was the value. So I put about half in from fiat, and the rest was from selling. And I still held. I still have the same clone that I've always had. I still held some, but I had to sell quite a few. And then I went to Bianca first, my wife, and I said, so look, she knows what I'm doing. She helps me with my thumbnails. I mean, obviously she knows what I'm doing. I'm doing this all the time. She supports me through thick and thin, always has. So if I find something has potential, she supports me, which I'm really thankful for. And I said to her, look, I want to buy a Bored Ape. She said to me, let's look. And that's how she supported me. And we looked at the floor and I saw one that I loved. Loved, 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 loved. And as I was ready to buy it, someone had bought it. I really loved it. And so I was looking with Bianca and we found put a few offers. And because I want to get a deal if I can. So even though I liked it and I had the ETH, put a couple of offers on the ones I liked, and finally I saw that this one got accepted, and it was an amazing feeling. It really was. It really was, because half of that money was built from nothing, just working in the space, project advising from the beginning, a mod, community manager, consultant, just working in the space, and half of it is hard-earned money from working out of the space. But it felt amazing, and I knew I said to Bianca at the time and to myself, if I get offered double within a short period of time, double, I will take it. And I would check every day, not looking for an offer, but I check all my blue chips every day to check the offers. And I saw a US dollar offer. It was in USD for literally double what I paid, literally. So I paid 80 Ethereum when ETH was $1,000, and my offer was 177,000 US dollars in USD. So after the commission, I walked away with literally double. And I didn't even go to the end.
Did you sell?
I accepted
You
it
sold it
immediately.
Amazing. How long?
In,
How long was the period between?
I think a month.
So, but this is
make
this is incredible, because it sounds like, to validate Cade, it sounds like you are an incredible trader.
and then I cashed it out, converted it from ETH to USD, and from USD into my bank account.
Yes.
So now I'm up in fiat, and I've still got beautiful NFTs. I've actually got a mutant, I've got a clone, I've got a World of Woman, I've got a cool cat. I've still got, and all of it is house money now, all of it. But the one thing is, I look at the Bored Ape floor every day. Yeah. So I want to get in. If I have to sell the mutant and a few others to get there, I do want to get it again. And again, if someone offers me double in such a short period of time, I'll take it. I've worked for every cent I've ever made. I know how hard it is to make $80,000, let alone in 3 weeks. If I can do that, I will do that all time over.
And this is really, really important, because what you're demonstrating here is that you have a very clear, very, very clear entry point, and you have a very, very clear exit strategy. And this is something that I've talked about in the past, which is where I think back in when everything was just incredibly hot and people were making 10x's in a day, or 20x's in a day, just riding all of the volume, the crazy volume, people got greedy. So if it wasn't a 4x, they would just hold on. They just hold on. Then the high chances are just dumped to zero. Whereas you've just said, you've been like, my exit strategy is 2x, done, 2x and done. And having that, if you just double your money, that is a huge amount of return that you can get, and incredible story to.
But I got lucky, Tom, on the ape. I got lucky because the floor at the time when I got the offer was about 120,000 USD. So I looked at afterwards. I went to this guy's account and I was just looking. I was interested. Why? why did he offer so much over floor? It's not a rare, it's a good looking one, I thought, but there's a few good looking ones. And he actually made the same offer on three apes, and there's nothing in common between those three. So I would understand if they were all white hair, because mine was white hair, or all Hawaiian shirts. He loves Hawaiian shirts, fine. But there was nothing. But what I did see was that he's got a lot of other deed land, a lot. And what I suspect is that he's trying to marry the land to the ape. So he must have had the bored ape land of those three apes and wanting to marry that land together with that. That's the only thing that made sense. So I was happy to hold it. I wasn't looking to sell it. It wasn't listed for sale. But I got the offer, and I don't, whatever the reason is, it was, he wanted it, and congratulations to whoever bought it.
Well, do you know what? Congratulations to you, because we know, and a lot of the stories are coming out over the last couple of months of many of the influencers, people that we work with, and can, hold my hand up that I'm definitely like down in NF from my NFT trading. I'm not up. It's not a lot, but I haven't, all things considered, I'm not in like a positive gain from when I started. But what I have gained is a very robust network, a really deep, comprehensive network of legends like yourself, people that I work with on a day-to-day basis. And to me, that's myself like looking forward. And and I've said this, I've been saying this for months, all of the money that I pissed down the drain or gone to the Ethereum miners through gas fees, all of that is just what I consider my tuition fees for being able to have the pleasure and the opportunity for meeting people like yourself and learning from people like yourself. So yeah, it's been, it's been a pleasure getting to know you recently. And I foresee this as being a super long and amazing relationship. And hopefully I can come and hang out in your man cave in your den and take a look at your DB5 and hold it. Apparently it's 50 kilograms. That thing is actually a lot bigger
30,
than you think.
30.
The
Yeah,
set of teeth that you can see down below his arm is actually bigger than his entire head. That's how big
yeah,
those things are. So yeah,
yeah.
Philip, is there any have you got any kind of like closing comments? Where can people like follow you? What are you up to at the moment, mainly when it comes to content creation? You said you also do advisory stuff, consultation stuff. How can people get in contact with you and best to follow along with you, mate?
100%. I just want to clarify, I've made a lot of bad trades and lost a lot on others. You only really hear about the good ones. And if I actually had to tally it up, I don't know, I'm probably a little bit up, but not nearly where I was if I had sold everything when I should have sold everything. So, I've also paid school fees, and I got lucky on one or two trades, but I've been unlucky on 100, 200. I got 500 NFTs that I've hidden in my hidden folder, not auto hidden, that I've hidden. So just know that. So yeah, on my side, look, you guys can find me. I've got as Tom said, the YouTube channel. I upload 2-3 times a day, always NFT content, some crypto stuff, and also some advice. So you can follow me on YouTube, Twitter. I've also got my own little private Discord that's open to anyone, completely free, that you can come into, always posting alpha calls and some whitelists and things like that. So come and join, you'll be very welcome. What I'm up to now is, I've stopped doing all the modding and community management stuff, even though I still get the same founders coming back to me asking me to come back, which is a huge compliment. I just don't have the time, and I'd rather just build a community there, which is what I'm doing. So our Discord has got about 500 people in it. Each and every one of them, there's been no marketing for it. Each and every one of them are fans of the show, and I don't even know what I'm going to do with that. I just enjoy the community side of it. I do offer alpha services in other Discords. We've got about 22 people signed up that we post every single day in their Discords. There's a team of 5 people on the NFT show that do research and help me. So if anyone out there is a project owner and looking for value and utility to their holders, great alpha, great calls, stuff like that is something that we can do. We set everything up in your own Discord, and I still do some consulting and advising for new projects specifically. Obviously, like all day doing project reviews, and you'll see I've done a lot. I mean, I look, there's 700 videos uploaded to YouTube, and I've only been doing this since January on the YouTube side. So I've reviewed maybe 200, 300 projects, and I do, you get to know and you get to see what works and what doesn't. So that's really what I'm up to now. But I really just also want to be a like honest voice in the space, you know. And I think you're the same, and I think Kate's the same, which is why we click. And Nate is the same. We always shout out Nate.
Always shout
What
out
a
Nate,
legend.
the top
Yeah,
G.
a real legend, and has helped me enormously and become a very good friend of mine. But those are the people that I stick to, is guys who are saying it like it is, and just there to guide people. You know, I actually made a video which I'm really proud of, has barely gotten any views, but called My In Real Life Investment Thesis, and actually goes on to say that, you know, the only reason I'm spending some money on NFTs is because it's a tiny percentage of my wealth, and this is gambling. And don't do it if you can't pay fees. And I actually take you through the entire story of when I started being a bit risky with a tiny bit of my wealth, but what I did to get to this point. I showed pictures. I actually cried in the video.
Wow.
So, and no one has seen it. And it's on my channel, you know.
Right.
But that would be my thing. My in
This
real
is the
life.
call. This is the call to push everyone to watch this, because that is the stories that we care about. And this is something that hopefully at some point we'll be able to dig into. I've had the pleasure of talking to you about this on your channel and talking about your history, and because you talk about all of the work that you currently do in Web3 and NFTs, but I know that you are a full-time like CEO or managing director of your own company, one of the forces of companies in your vertical like category in South Africa. So to do all of the stuff that you're doing on top of that, running a successful company is it's really incredible. So I'm going to go and watch that straight after this. I'm going to pop it on the TV and I'm going to watch it, and hopefully I don't cry, but incredible
You're gonna
to
cry.
hear, to
You're gonna
hopefully hear
cry.
your
I
story.
cried,
Yeah,
but please link it to the
I'll definitely
description
link it
of
down.
this, please,
I'll link it
because
down below.
that is the real side that people don't hear. And it's like basically there aren't, I don't know any shortcuts to do it. It's hard work, sacrifice of 20 years of blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice to allow me the luxury to go and spend $80,000 on a picture of a stupid monkey, without it being a worry if it goes to zero. You know, but it's important. It's an important video, and I hope more people see it, because that's why I'm here. I want to be the sober voice and the honest voice in a sea full of videos, how to make $1 million overnight and how I flipped this $1 into $1 million in a week. It's all bullshit. So that's what got me wanting to do this, and that's really where it's at. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
I appreciate you, and I'm, as someone who is very intent on taking the long road, being patient, and not trying to flip $1 to $1 million in a week. I'm very keenly aware of how long it takes, and so I'm hoping to learn from you. I hope you don't mind if I send you questions around how you've built your business,
Please.
because I
Please.
would really,
Tom,
really
you know
appreciate
I'm
that.
here anytime. When you came on my channel, we had an instant connection. Anytime.
Thanks,
Come,
man.
and I'm the same to anyone else. Anyone who comes in my Discord with the real intention of just being there and adding to the community. And if anyone needs anything, they know I'm there. And that's one thing that I've realized, is that when I was coming up along the ranks outside of NFTs, there were people who I looked up to that took time to answer what was probably stupid questions and guide me. And it's about paying it forward for me, both the NFT journey and everything else. So at any stage, I'm here to you and available to you, even before this video. I hope you know that. But please watch it and let me know what you think of it. And please, can everyone watch it? I don't care if you watch my review on this crap or that crap. Watch my in real life investment video, please.
Can't wait to go. I'm going to pop it on right now. So, Philip, thank you so much, mate. And hope you have a lovely evening. And thank you for joining me. And yeah, make sure to go follow him. All of the links are going to be down below in the box down below. Go watch his video. Learn from someone who has been there and grinded out a successful career in life the hard way, and the way it should be done, and the way it really is done. So yeah, learn from the best. This guy is one of them. So yeah, Philip, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me, man. I'm so happy we could do this. Thank you. I know you're busy.
Thanks, dude.
Cool, my brother.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you haven't already done so, hit the like button down below. Make sure to subscribe so that you can learn from the very best that I'm going to be interviewing at the Summit Club. If you didn't know this already, I also have another podcast called the Unorthodox Podcast that I do with my co-founders, Liam and Mark, over at Unorthodox. We're a Web3 marketing consultancy. If you want to go check it out, it's quite a lot of fun. If you want to learn a bit more about crypto and everything Web3, that's the place to come check it out. We interview some of the most interesting people within Web3 and also executives across some of the biggest brands on the planet. Come and join us. The links are also going to be down below in the description, and I'll see you next time.